Good morning. This is Frank and Tanner from Marathon, Florida. This is going to be HogFish Cleaning 101, and we're going to show you a couple of ways to clean your hogfish this morning. And Tanner's going to start out with his, and I want to mention that the fillet's already off of this fish on one side because we already had cleaned it and we wanted to save the other side. So we're going to show you again. Tanner?
With the other fillet off, it's harder to clean because the fish bends in instead of it being flat with the other fillet. So I'll give you a couple tips without the fillet on there. And you still start the same way. You go from here up to the tip of the head. And then you take your knife and dig into the tip. And then from the tip, you go down. And you kind of keep your knife more angled up so you can kind of stay with the bones. And you do the same thing. You go from there all the way down to the end. And if you mess up right there, you pop it through and just do that. And on this fillet, if you've already taken the fillet off, you might mess up like that. It won't be like that with there's no meat on the bones. But that's okay. There's still a lot of meat on hogfish, so you'll be fine. You pull it up with your fingers, and I just like to kind of carve it with the tip of the knife and just get the meat off the bones. And a decent one that has already had a fillet off of it should look like this.
Good job.
So see, it's a little messed up here, but that's okay. It'll still fry up nice or bake or whatever. And then you do the same way. You take your fingers, put it at the tip of the tail, take your knife and just angle it at your finger. Well, not with the blade, but with the other side. And then you just angle it to where it's like just cutting, not into the skin, but just underneath the layer of meat. And there's no there's no meat on here, and that's how a good hogfish fillet should look.
Very good, Tanner. This fish I'm going to show you just like Tanner did, starting at the head, except I start from the tail, so you can come two different directions. I cut into his tail and start easing forward on the fillet. And when you have a hogfish that's got the fillet off on the other side, starting from the tail is not quite as difficult to stay right on the meat. But like Tanner was giving you a little clue, it's best to do all your cuts and leave your fillet on till you take them both off at the same time. That way you have a well-rounded fish, and it makes your fillets easier to cut. I do the same thing. I cut all the way up to the head. Remember, there's a bone right here, and you want to get that chunk of meat there because that's a good bite and a half for sure. Cut right across the rib cage. Then you peel it back and you take the knife, cut that rib away. There's your fillet, and it's just as simple when you have it like that. Grab it with your fingernails, go down against the skin, between the skin and the meat, and just pull it towards you, just ever so slightly rubbing your knife back and forth, and there's your fillet. Perfect every time. We'd like to see you again in Marathon, Florida, and we'll show you what to do with your hogfish next time, a hogfish salad.